This part of Chapter 2, I think, is the most confusing for students. So that's another reason why I didn't want you yesterday to try to have to watch a video on it. I tried to answer a few more questions. Basically what happens in Section 5-2 is every month the bank is going to send you a statement, and on that statement it's going to show what they say you have in an account, and then you need to compare that to what you said you have in your account, okay? So how do we do that? On the back of the statement, there's going to be called a reconciliation form, and that's pretty much what we have viewable on my screen right now and that you see up there. There are two sides to the bank reconciliation, and if you read the words, it really tells you exactly what we need to do. But students get a little anxious because they look at it and they're like, I don't understand. So I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to explain the left side of a bank reconciliation and then move to the right. Okay, so we're not going to fill anything in yet. We're truly going to look at what it is. So on the left-hand side of this bank reconciliation, you can see that it says balance on check stub. So this side, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our books to make it match the bank. This side right here, it says balance on bank statement. This is going to be where we adjust the bank's balance. And the goal at the end is we have to get these two numbers to equal. If these two numbers don't equal, we haven't done it correctly. So that's one of the things we know about accounting is there's always a way for us to check our work. And our ultimate goal is our adjusted check stub balance needs to equal the adjusted bank balance. And there's going to be more things that we need to adjust on the bank's end. And here's the reason why. The bank is going to print and mail to you a bank statement. I know you can check online at any point, but they have to go through and they have to send you a physical statement once a month. Whether or not you have that set up as print or as email, there's going to be a report that would come to you. Okay? And what you need to do is you need to look at it. Now, they'll prepare that report on a specific day. So let's say that the bank did mine yesterday. Okay? On October 29th, that's my end of the month because it depends on when I open my bank account when the next month would be. It's not always on the same day for everyone. Okay? So let's say that the bank yesterday prepared my statement. They go through and generate the whole report. They print it out. When is it going to go in the mail? Do you think they'll get it into the mail yesterday or it might go in the mail today? Think about a bank. How many accounts would they have? Just mine? They might have several that they need to do. So they have to generate the report, print it. So they could have the report printed yesterday and get it put in an envelope, but they might miss the bank, so the mail, so it might go in the mail today. Or maybe they'll get it soon enough they can get it into the mail in the afternoon. Okay? Either way, they generated the report yesterday in the morning. Let's say on the way home, I was in La Crosse yesterday for a meeting. On the way home, I had to stop and gas up in New London. I wrote a check, or I used my debit card. Is what I paid for gas yesterday afternoon going to be on that report? No. Okay. I stopped at Don's and bought some milk. Would that be on the report? My husband stopped and made a deposit of some checks we had. Would that be on the report? Those types of things that I'm talking about are called outstanding. Outstanding not in the way that we mean, hey, it's great, it's fantastic. Outstanding in the ways of, it hasn't cleared yet. It hasn't passed through the account. Okay? So we have to go through and account for that. Because things will be outstanding, you're going to see you have to do a lot of adjustments to the bank side of the statement. I will automatically be able to record that deposit and those payments, right, on my end in my check stub, because I know it already happened. But it takes a little bit for the bank to clear. Now, if I go and look today, those would probably be cleared already if I use my debit card. But we always do it not every day. We don't do a bank reconciliation. We do it once a month to go through and compare to the report. So on the left-hand side here, we have our balance on our next check stub. So physically, what you would have to do is look at your check stub and get your balance. And it should be your next unused check stub. Okay, so not the one that you just wrote a check out. It would be the next one that you haven't filled out. And then we're going to have any bank charges. Now, banks can add charges. Some typical charges that you're going to see in a bank account are going to be service charges. Sometimes banks will say, oh, you're only allowed to cash 30 checks. You did 35, so we're going to have 10 cents an extra charge on your accounts. Or it could be a service fee because I have a safety deposit box. There are various charges, and what the bank is going to do is the bank is not going to send you a bill and wait for you to pay it. They are just going to take it out of your account because you signed an agreement somewhere saying that if this happens, they will take it out, and they're not going to just take it out for nothing. Maybe you have a bounced check, and there's an overdraft fee. All of those fees would be the types of charges that you would have to account for. Okay, you're not going to have a lot of them in this situation that we're doing our accounting work, but in real life there are various times. Now I have no fee checking account, so basically I don't have any service fees, and the reason why is because I have direct deposit. So what does that bank mean to the bank? It goes directly there, right? Today's a happy day, Jared? Payday? See, look, I just made his day. Now, he doesn't have to, go get his check from his boss and then go to the bank and deposit it. The money goes right into his account. So what does that mean? The bank knows they're going to get their money first. And because of that, because I have direct deposit, they give me free checking account because they know they're going to always get money on every pay period. They don't have to wait for me 3 or 4 days for me to get to the bank and deposit it. They also don't have to pay somebody to deal with my deposit because it's all done electronically. So there is some benefits that I get because I have direct deposit, and banks will do that because they get money right away. Okay. So on the left-hand side, we have balance on check stub, and then do you see where it says bank charges? Now look at this word, deduct. Do you see mathematically what am I going to do with the bank charges? Subtract, right? I'm going to find it, and I'm going to subtract this number, and what am I going to have? My adjusted bank balance. So all I'm going to do on this side is take my bank balance, my check stub balance, subtract charges, and get a number. Not a lot of math, and you're not going to have a lot of charges here. This is the part that takes a little bit more work, and this is going to be where we have to start first with the balance on the bank statement. And there will be printed, balance on bank statement is, blah, 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 and you put that number right here on the top. Now, notice that word right here, add, okay? And we're going to add deposits. Now, the word that is repeated here is outstanding and outstanding. Outstanding are things that you have done that do not appear on the bank statement. Okay? Outstanding deposits, meaning my husband went to the bank yesterday afternoon and made a deposit, but it's not on that printed report because it happened after the report was generated. So I'd have to list any outstanding deposits. Deposits that I know that are made that's not printed on the report, and I'm going to add that. So I'm going to have this number, I'm going to add my outstanding deposits, and I'm going to get a subtotal. Now here I have to deduct outstanding checks, and there typically will be a lot of outstanding checks. So for example, let's say that Chris wrote a check for our upcoming trip for FBLA, NFLC. And he gave me the check on Monday. Am I going to make a deposit every day with FBLA for those checks? What do you think? Is that a high priority in my world for accounting finance? Do you think FBLA makes a deposit every day? No, we don't. Like once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending on what's going on. So if he wrote me a check on Monday, I probably haven't deposited it yet, and he might have gotten his bank statement in the mail yesterday. But he knows he wrote the check out to me. Let's say that check was for $100. So the bank statement is going to be $100 higher than what it really should be because he knows that I could cash that check and $100 are going to come out of it. So we're going to have to go through, and he has to look and compare what checks he has written to what checks the banks have written. So if you've ever gone through and held on to a check for a really long time, for several months, it makes it much harder for the person to balance their bank statement because they have to keep going back and saying, did this one clear yet? Nope, this one didn't clear yet. And the further away it is, the more they have to go back and keep accounting for that outstanding check. Does that sound good? Okay. So we have outstanding checks here, and you're going to deduct your outstanding checks because these are checks that you know that are going to be cashed by people. They just haven't cleared the bank yet. So we're going to add our outstanding deposits, get a subtotal, subtract our outstanding checks, and we're going to get a number here. These two numbers need to equal. If they don't, we know somewhere we made a mistake. And right now, in our happy accounting land, most likely that mistake is going to be that we did a math mistake. But in real life, it'll show you various things. For example, we heard about that issue with Dairy Queen where people used their debit cards and their system was hacked, right? You heard about that? From August through early October, there was a security breach on Dairy Queen's debit and credit card transactions. Someone hacked in and was able to get account information. And what happened is there were some people that, and it specifically affected the one here in Seymour, Seymour's Dairy Queen, not Pulaski's. I think there was only 2 in Wisconsin. And somebody got account information. So that means if you used your debit card at Dairy Queen between beginning of August to beginning of October, somebody could have got your account information. And what they did then is the people that hacked in used your account information and then they made purchases in other areas. Not big ones. Like I heard somebody on their account, they were charged like $30 in Georgia. So it's not going to be like a huge, like $1,000 one where you'd look at it. Now, if your account was hacked, you wouldn't have any record of it on your account, would you? Not at all. So that would be a way you would go through and you'd see, but the bank is subtracting $30. I don't know what this is. If you don't do your reconciling your bank statement, the bank would just automatically pay it and you would be out that money. So going through and reporting that. And the other example that happened to me was I was snowmobiling one year and I traveled up north and I filled up my truck and I filled up my snowmobiles at a gas station. So truck is going to be about $100 that you need to fill up. Sleds are going to be, 2 sleds that we had to fill up were about $45 between the 2 of them filling up. So I had approximately like $150 in gas at this one gas station. Not unusual. That's what happens when we travel. We were way up north, 4 hours away. So I got home. The next month I got my bank statement. And what happened was their credit card machine on the gas pump charged me twice. Yes. 2 separate transactions on the same day at the same gas station for the same amount. The bank paid it because their credit card machine had charged me twice. So whose error was it? The vendors, right? But if I didn't go through and reconcile my bank statement, I would have paid that gas station twice. Should I have paid the gas station twice? No. The only way you would know that is I go through and I look at their outstanding deposits and I saw that. I'm like, there's no way I could spend the exact same amount at the same gas station on the same day because I'm not going to drive my truck and my snowmobile enough to be able to fill up at the same gas station for the exact same amount. So I contacted the bank. The bank said, contact the gas station. So I contacted the gas station. Gas station said, come in and we'll talk to the manager. I said, I'm not driving 4 hours back to talk to the manager. They're like, and it really was an employee that didn't know what to do. I get that. But they didn't say call back at this time to talk to the manager. They said stop in at this day. I'm like, I'm not stopping in. So then I went back to the bank and I said the gas station was not helpful. They then took over the investigation, agreed and looked at it and said, you're right. You were charged twice. We refunded the money back into your account. Okay. Yesterday I was stayed at a hotel in La Crosse. And somebody else was paying for the hotel room because I was there for a meeting. It wasn't my expense. It was the business's expense. When you check into a hotel room, what do they make you do? Give them your credit card, right? For incidentals, like, you hit the mini bar or something, you damage, you break lights, I don't know, incidentals. What's that? You have a party in there or something? I'm really hot in the Olaf costume right now. I'm dying. That's why I had to turn some lights off. So when I went to check out, I got the receipt for the room, and I looked real quick, and they had charged my room, my credit card, not the business's. So I had to go back down, and I said, can you please tell me which card you charge? I think you charged mine, and I should not pay for it. And they said, oh, yes, we did charge yours, so they did a refund. How long do you think it'll take me for me to get the refund? At least 3 to 5 days. It made me say, you're really good at taking the money, you're not really good at refunding the money. So now I have to make sure I go back in 3 to 5 days and check my statement that they did what? Issued me a refund. I have the paperwork because if they didn't do that, I should call back to the hotel and I can raise a stink, right? But the only way you're going to know that is by going through and checking your bank statement. You can't always just say that what the bank says is really is in your account. Those types of mistakes can happen, and those are examples right here that you'd be like, yeah, legitimately could. Identity theft, somebody taking your account information and making charges. And if the people are really good at identity theft, they're not going to go through and make a $1,000 charge because you're going to see that right away. But would you notice $20, $30 here or there once a month? No. If you go through and reconcile frequently, you're going to notice that more. Okay? So that is the point of reconciling a bank statement. On the left-hand side, you're going to do the amount on the check stub. On the right-hand side, you're going to do your bank balance. Let's take a look at our directions and fill in our numbers. When we read the directions, it's really important that we read all of the information given to us in the directions for bank reconciliation. It says forms are given. I'm going to guide you through the following example. On July 29th of the current year, Deep Clean received a bank statement dated July 28th. The following information is obtained from the bank statement from the records of the business. The first thing that we notice is there are two dates. Okay? The first date is the date that we received it, and the other one is the date of the statement. When we reconcile our bank statement, what date are we going to do it on? The date it's printed or the date we receive it? The date we received it. So on the very top here, the date that we're going to put in is going to be July 29th. Many of you are going to get that wrong on the test. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go through. We have the following information in our directions. We have to prepare a bank statement dated July 29th of the current year. We're going to record service charges on check stub number 106 and record the service charge in the general journal on page 14. So when we do our bank statement, we're going to start on the upper left-hand side and work our way down. So our balance on our next check stub is going to be check stub number 106. We know that because they give us the physical check stub right here. And our balance is going to be $1,575. They gave us that in the directions, even though they don't have it on the check stub. I'm going to go right now on my check stub and put in $1,575 because that number should be there. We're going to need it later, so it's all good. Now, in our directions, service charge, do we have any? We have a bank service charge. For how much? Do you see it in the directions where they give you that amount? So for the description, I'm going to put in the word service charge and $2. Now, you may have multiple charges that you would list individually, and then you'd put the total over here. We only have one charge, so I'm just going to put 2 right here. Now, I hope you can do the math on this one without a calculator. I know, it is Thursday, and it is the morning, but I hope we can do it. It should be $1,573. Would you agree? So the left side, pretty easy and straightforward. The right-hand side, we have to get more information from our directions. Our bank statement balance is $1,528. They give us that right here. So I'm going to need to put this information and put it right up here on the top. Okay. The next section here, it says outstanding deposits. And if you read right here, do we have any outstanding deposits? Okay, we have right here our directions say outstanding deposit dated July 28th, $150. So we're going to do 728 using numbers, and we'll put in the amount, $150. You may have multiple deposits that you would have to list here. This example only has one. So we're going to take the individual amount of that and put it over here for $150. And what are we going to do? Are we going to add or subtract our outstanding deposits? So we're going to take $1,528 plus $150. That's going to give us $1,678. Okay, again, deposits are ones that we have made but did not appear on the statement. Same thing's going to happen for outstanding checks. Outstanding checks are ones that we have written but have not appeared on the statement. And how many outstanding checks do we have? 2, and that's going to be check stub number 103 for $70 and check stub number 105 for $35. And then the total of our outstanding checks should be 105, if I've done my math correctly. So I have to take 1,678 and subtract 105. And then I look right here. I have 1,573 and 1,573, so that means I can do my happy Olaf dance because my bank reconciliation equals. Would you agree? These two numbers are in balance. We're not done yet, though. Two things we have to do. Our bank statement, our check stub balance does not say 1,573. What does it say? 1,575. I need my check stub to be right. So I have to, on my check stub, go down here and put in my bank charge. So I don't have a deposit. The deposit's already in there. So I'm just going to take 1,575 and put it down there. But I need to put in here a service charge for $2. Okay, so then my amount of other is going to be 2, and then I need to go 1,573 because now my adjusted check stub balance actually equals my check stub balance. But here's something else. We have to journalize that $2. We can't have $2 coming out of our cash account without having a debit and a credit. Now, this is going to be the one time that you are going to credit cash when you are not having check as a source document, because the bank's not going to make us write out a check. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to credit cash even though our source document is not a C. And you will see in our last line of our instruction that says, record this service charge in the General Journal, page 14. Use memorandum number 44 as the source document. So this service charge we're going to journalize as a miscellaneous expense. So down on page 14 of the journal, the date of the 29th, the date that we did our bank reconciliation. Great question. We're going to do miscellaneous expense. The source document's M44. And we are going to do a general debit of $2 and a cash credit of $2. Now, again, this is one of the few times that you're crediting cash when your source document is not a check, because basically the bank went through and took the money out. Okay? I see I have this assignment set as graded. So I will check in just a moment to see how everyone did. Go ahead and do the on your own portion.